Watching the polls on the Joy News channel this afternoon, the West Africa Examination Council is overwhelmed by the high numbers of malpractices in the ongoing West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination, which is underway across the country. We'll tell you more as students, teachers and invigilators have already been arrested. We have details plus a conversation with officials of the council who are joining us on the polls in a short while. And we are also taking an update on this whole scandal between the IGP and some senior officers of the Ghana Police Service, as the service is this afternoon reversing the interdiction of some senior police officers. We'll tell you about the latest on the interdiction and also the plans by Parliament's ad hoc committee to hear the case. And later on, we know that works are underway to clear the deadly toll booths on the Accra-Tema motorway. Pictures of what is underway there happening at the toll booth as far as the Accra-Tema motorway is concerned. We'll get some updates for you, plus details on this new approach towards dealing with traffic congestion and risks on that road network.
A little bit over 1 million Ghana cedis, and that takes care of the 1 million. It covers both the demolition works and the solar, the street lighting. So it's just a minor work. It's not a major work that we are doing. It's just a minor work.
The work has started, and these are more we're bringing to you here on The Pulse. It's a pleasure to always be with you. My name is Blessed Sugan. The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities Dignity Lu, Affordable Safe Sanitation for All. Live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125. This is The Pulse. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and myjoyonline.com. Thanks for joining us. And this afternoon, the West Africa Examination Council says it has identified widespread malpractices in the ongoing West Africa Senior High School Certificate examinations. The council says that malpractices are so much that it is unable to actually get the exact numbers immediately, but confirms that students, teachers, and supervisors have all been indicted in the process. Well, John Kapi is the head of public affairs at WAEC, and he's been speaking on some of these issues.
This character has been arrested, and then he's been handed over to the police. He decided to bribe WAEC officials because his students are writing exams at Sunyani St. Mary's Junior High School. And the name of the school, he is the board chairman, as he claims, Donoman Senior High School. It's a private school, actually. But, yes.
So at St. Benedict, you can see they have this long hall, and for maybe about each 50 candidates, there is a whiteboard marker there. There's a whiteboard there, and what has been happening is, in the course of the exam, an official will come and produce the responses on the board for the students or the candidates to copy. So with this one, our officers intercepted this, and money taken from candidates. So you can see on the left-hand side the serial number of the candidate, and then attached to it the amount the candidate has paid. So for instance, you can see row 13. It's the same thing. So row 26 or room 26, candidate 751, he has paid 300 now to 400. 752, he has managed to pay 100. 753, 200. And it goes on like that. So it's the same school.
Listen to them, woman. You came to pay. They gave you a receipt, 500 cedis. To the headmaster or Bruce. So Bruce. Timothy.
And Central. I didn't pay it once, I paid half the
in bits. Yeah, it's 200 for Timothy, and I give 200 for Secure.
Secure. So where the receipt?
It's in the house.
It's in the house. Now where do you live? Where do you live?
Every time, just name, sent to the police station.
What's your name?
You can't do that.
What?
Okay, so the pieces of evidence that WAEC is relying on to put out that public statement indicating that it is becoming overwhelming when it comes to matters relating to exam malpractice. So what's the council seeking to do about this? Joining us via Zoom now is John Kapisti, Director of Public Affairs for the West Africa Examination Council, joining us now. Thank you, sir, for spending some time with us. Dr. Peter Antipati is an educationist as well with the Institute for Education. That is IFES joining us also in this conversation. So let's start off with you, John Kapi, since you addressed the press and of course your council has outlined some of the challenges you're having with the exam. This is not the first time, obviously, and we must state that on record. But how bad is the situation as we speak?
Thank you and good afternoon to your listeners. I think that basically the trend is getting a little more complicated and it's more widespread than it used to be. There are a lot more schools involved and a lot more teachers and candidates who are desperate to assist each other in this exercise. The extent to which this is bad is the fact that we have evidence of monies having been collected from these candidates, ranging between 500 cedis and 1,000 cedis, with the promise to assist them in the examination hall. And so this is a trend that the level of malpractice has taken.
And we know that you're built to take some action on the ones that you've uncovered. Let's talk about these institutions and what you actually intend to do with them.
Well, for the institutions, we have earmarked scrutiny of their scripts. That is to say, when the marking is done, we'd want to do further scrutiny to ascertain the level of irregularity that they have. We also look at their location, and if it is possible to move the center from where it is to a safer location, we will do that. And for some of them, if, for example, for the private schools, we may choose to derecognize them if the evidence pointing to irregularity is overwhelming.
And when it comes to, the authorities, obviously Ghana Education Service will come into the picture, the Ministry of Education will come into the picture. What's the level of collaboration taking place now, just to nip this in the bud, to put an end to it, by the way?
Right. So we are supposed to work directly in collaboration with the Ghana Education Service because the teachers in the field are supposed to be employees of the Ghana Education Service. We have so far reported these cases to the Director General Ghana Education Service, so they are very much aware. We are compiling a list of examination officials, teachers, supervisors who are in the employment of the Ghana Education Service, and this list will be handed over to them, and we expect that they will take disciplinary action against these teachers.
Dr. Anti, the point about, finding a lasting solution to this whole issue of exam malpractice. I recall that at some point the Ministry of Education, it was WAEC actually, indicating to us that as part of the security features, cameras might be introduced into the examination hall. Lots of consideration, and yet all we see year by year is that cases of malpractice will still happen. How do we safeguard the integrity of the exercise?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your viewers. I'm not surprised because I felt that the focus of WAEC and most of us, even in the education space, have been to deal with pre-examination malpractices. So we were so much focused on the leakage of papers. That is why over the years you see us talk a lot more about this paper has leaked, and so on and so forth. And WAEC has taken steps to try to minimize that particular
malpractice. But what we forgot, or what we did not pay much attention to, was the fact that there is also during exams malpractice, which happens within the examination center. And this is very prevalent, especially when it's got to do with marketability of a school, the bragging right of a school, and so on and so forth. Teachers, students, school authorities want the schools, the students to pass, so that they can use that, especially with the private schools, to boost their rankings in the country. And that is what we are experiencing now. How do we deal with this? I think that there can be so many ways that we can look at it. That's my friend there from WAEC is talking about. But first and foremost, I think that we need a broader policy-wise directive in terms of this kind of malpractices that has been happening. And we have said a long time that we should look at the value of the certificates that we issue at the end of SSS education. And I say this because there's a lot of pressure on it. I've said that when students complete school and they cannot progress in their life in terms of everything, whether they are entering the world of work or they are entering any kind of education, they cannot progress because they couldn't pass a particular subject. This kind of pressure will come on the certificate. So we need a broader policy directive on how do we separate the fact that somebody has completed 14 years of education in Ghana. And I say 14 years of education because I'm talking about from KG or even class 1 up to SHS 3, and that is 14 years. And the only way that a person can progress in life is the ability of that particular student to pass the Wassce examination. That is very, very problematic. And I think that we need to address that challenge. When we're able to water down the value of the certificate in terms of the ability of the student to progress after he or she has written this particular exams, I think we will be able to deal with some of these things and then add all the other suggestions and ideas that have come into play to ensure that the practice is minimized. But for me, the first thing we need to do, which is a broader policy thing, and it's even beyond WAEC, is to ensure that there should be something to note that someone has finished his education, at least a pre-tertiary education in Ghana, and then the WAEC examination can also be the WAEC certificate can also be issued to a student who wants to pursue further studies. That would water down the pressure on this particular certificate that the students are getting. Because if you sit for Wassce and you don't pass, you have to sit for remedials till you pass before you can progress. No employer will pick you or employ you. At the same time, you cannot enter any tertiary institution in Ghana. So everybody would want to pass. Parents would want their ones to pass. Teachers would want their students to pass. And students themselves want to pass because they don't want to feel stagnant in their life. And that is what is causing this.
John Kapi, what are the common forms of malpractices that you've uncovered this year? Are they different from the traits that you keep finding from the previous years? Because the reason for which I'm asking this is that the indication from the press conference is at least one school has as many as 8 mobile phones seized. These are some of the reports we are hearing of. So what forms are these malpractices taking this time around?
Yeah, so as Doc indicated, there are people who want to have bragging rights, and so they would want to market their schools. In one school, that's a private school, for example, we picked 86 phones just at one sitting.
Not 80. 86, yeah.
86, yeah. Now, so the trend now is that the websites that used to post question papers before the commencement of the examinations are not able to do so because they don't have access to anything. Now, per our reports from our investigators, it's that they are asking the candidates now to go in with their phones so that post-opening of the parcels, snapshots will be taken and then answers will be prepared and sent to them by whatever means that they can. Basically, WhatsApp and then the Telegram pages, So snapshots being taken, sent out, answers prepared, and sent back to the candidates by WhatsApp. There are also these situations where there are photocopies of prepared answers Where some of the pictures we showed today indicate we were counting the number of photocopies made by one teacher that he intended to distribute across to the candidates of his institution.
I see. Okay, now the issue about the schools themselves and how you deal with them. Have you mapped out the plan yet? Have you made any arrests yet?
Yeah, for arrests, yes, we've made arrests. A number of teachers have been arrested across the country. We've not put out the figures yet because as virtually every day new reports are coming, new cases are coming. We also have had some impersonators, and the teachers who are collaborating with these impersonators, they also have been arrested. With the private schools where we have appointed supervisors, we've suspended those supervisors and we've handed them over to the police for appropriate action to be taken.
Probably the problem, it's also coming from the approach and the psyche of the students going into this examination. Very often, WAEC is seen as, I don't know how to describe that, but you've been there, you've been in that situation before when they talk about an external examiner coming in with papers at the end of your academic journey. It's part of the anxiety and the reason for which some of these students would want to opt for any option that will ease the pressure when it comes to writing Wassce. You agree?
Right. Basically, yes, it's a new thing to a lot of people that they are going to an examination that is not set by their own teachers. The environment is different. You are going to be spaced out in a hall, and those scripts are not going to be marked by your teacher. Psychologically, of course, this could affect some of the candidates. What we've tried to do over the years has been to do what we call sensitization. We go out there and speak with the candidates. We tell them what they can do, what they cannot do, how they can prepare themselves adequately for the examination. And we stress that whatever they've been taught in class, whatever they've been assessed on is virtually the same thing that we are going to bring out. Just that this time around is a body that has, set these questions and not their teachers in the classroom. So yes, the anxiety may be there, the desire to pass will be there, but I think that we've also tried to allay the fears of these candidates that this is not rocket science. It is possible for everyone to pass the examination.
Doc, on that point, are teachers contributing to this fear and anxiety on the part of students?
I think the work of the teacher is basically to assist the students go through the anxiety period. Of course, examination is something that all of us, no matter your level, when you are going to sit for exams, you experience certain kinds of anxiety. But then you ask yourself, where is the anxiety coming from? Anxiety is coming from the fact that the student knows that if he does not pass the exams, that is the end of him or her. Yeah. And that is the point, you see. So everybody would want to find various means to ensure that they pass. Teachers are supposed to water down the anxiety. Teachers are supposed to encourage the students. Teachers are supposed to let them know that this is one of the normal exercises that they are supposed to go through in their lives. But when the student still feels that I am not adequately prepared, when the student feels that if he is not able to or she is not able to pass the exams, the end result is a doom for him, then every means possible would be employed to pass the exams. And that is why I keep saying that we need a broader policy to look at how we issue this certificate and handle this examination so that I can do 14 years of education and then I get something to show that I've finished senior high school or pre-tertiary education in Ghana. Then I write my Wassce, and if I want to continue to a tertiary institution, then I use my Wassce to continue to the tertiary institution. Those who would want to enter the world of work or other areas, they can use the certificates that indicates that they have done some sort of education to do that. That is very, very important, and I think that will water down the anxiety and the malpractices that we are experiencing, because it is serious. And I'm glad that this time around, WAEC is being open about this issue and they are discussing it.
John Kabir, any final words to parents who may be wondering if their awards and their papers might be cancelled?
Well, we've appealed to parents to psych up their children about this examination. There shouldn't be any anxiety on the part of parents if their children have been psyched up well enough, and want to also appeal to parents not to be collaborators. We have evidence of situations where some of the parents have attempted to assist their children, especially even at the BEC, by providing them with phones to go to examination centers. So we want to appeal to parents. Prepare your child adequately with the appropriate teachers, appropriate books and everything, and then encourage them. Tell them it is possible to do it. Life does not come easy for anybody. We've got to work for it.
Okay, that's a very interesting point for all of us to note. John Kapi, thank you for joining us. But Dr. Anti, you'd want to stay on with us because it's now emerging that illiteracy is actually weighing heavily on Ghana's development. As new data from the Ghana Statistical Service shows that at least 8 million Ghanaians are illiterate. It does mean that 1 in every 4 Ghanaian you meet out there on the streets is not literate. The details are actually contained in new data released by the Statistical Service on the occasion of the World Literacy Day. But there's a need for us to understand what's going into the figures, what's informing this, and possibly why we're where we are today. So we could possibly get to the data for you and try and give you a sense of what's happening in terms of the national picture on the day of literacy. So here you have it in terms of what's happening and what you need to know. In terms of the numbers, we need to give you a sense of what's happening to the numbers. 8 million in all, as we understand, per this data coming through from the Ghana Statistical Service. And today it's been dedicated to the fact that we're looking at promoting literacy for the world in transition and building the foundation for sustainable and peaceful societies. So if you take a look at Ghana's situation, 8 million people, in the illiteracy bracket, and these individuals can neither read nor write in any language at all. So even in their local dialects, they are not able to express themselves on maybe paper, and talk less of English language as well. So if you take 4 persons, we know that at least one of them is likely here in Ghana to fall within that illiterate bracket. You take a look at the trend, 10% of illiterates concentrated in 9 districts in Ghana. As you take a look at it, just look at some of the districts that we're pointing to you. You have the Tamale Metropolis, you have the Nanumba Northeast, Mamprosi is also there, some parts, mostly in the northern parts of the country, and then you have Central Gonja also coming through. Ketu South municipality is also on that list, and you have Boko West featuring there as to some of the areas accounting for that trend. So 9 out of 16 regions in Ghana had at least one district with more than half of its population being literate. And so you have the regional distribution of what's happening there, the northern region leading, Upper West follows through, and it goes on and on and on to the Ashanti region. And that's why we're all concerned about what's happening. Doc, when you look at the regional distribution and the fact that 8 million in all are illiterates, what's the impact possibly on our education system and national development?
Thank you very much. If you really look at issues of literacy and numeracy, you understand that that is the basis of any educational system. So in most instances, policies are developed just to address the problems of literacy and numeracy at the early grade levels of students. So it's interesting that a lot of us in the country, that is 1 out of 4 people, seems or is illiterate. It means that the person cannot read or write in any language, and that is damning. I think that we have to have a second look at how we teach language in this country. I think we also have to look at our general language policy and the attention that we are giving to even comprehensive education, what we used to call the non-formal education, because these are avenues that we use to match up with those who have not been able to pick up the level of literacy that they need to get. Because if someone goes through you see, the assumption is that if someone goes through primary school and the person enters junior high school and then finally ends in the senior high school, the assumption is that that person has got some level of literacy and numeracy skills. But in most instances, that is not the case. So the only way that we try to avert these discrepancies is the introduction of comprehensive education, where the person is taken through what we used to call the non-formal education system. But as we look at it now, you would notice that particular aspect of our educational system seems not to be so functional, and as a result of that, it will be difficult for us to even take a second look at how we'll be able to improve on the literacy. And this has a potential of affecting the overall education in the country, because we want people to be able to read and write. In terms of our development, if people cannot read and write, nothing can be done. Because you see, one, you would notice that if you have now we are doing, if you see something, say something from the national security. There are adverts that are being shown to sensitize people about various issues. If people cannot read and write about some of these things, it means that the end result of the reason why we are doing these things would never be achieved. And that is why, for me, I think that we need to have a strategy to address this high level of illiteracy in our society.
What policy options should the likes of the Education Ministry be considering?
I need to be frank with you. There are a lot of things that are being done in the literacy level. There are a lot of things, programs that are being introduced, and I'm still surprised that, because there are a lot of programs that are being run in the northern part of the country in terms of trying to improve literacy and numeracy. So if you look at the data, and it still shows that these programs, it seems that they are not achieving their targets. It becomes a little bit worrying to some of us. I think we need to evaluate the programs and the policies that we have implemented to improve literacy. We need to evaluate and see which ones are working and which ones are not working, and then how we'll be able to adjust to ensure that we achieve the set objectives of that. Apart from that, I think that we need to now revisit the issue of non-formal education and comprehensive education in the sector. We need to make sure that we increase their budget allocation and then equip their instructors to be able to now offer some kind of literacy skills to the students that enroll. I think we also need to embark on more media campaigns about literacy. We need to ensure that we can use the various media platforms, the traditional media, social media, whether through radio stations or through television stations. We need to design programs to meet the literacy aspirations of the country. I think these are various ways that we can adopt to ensure that we improve the level of literacy. And hopefully by the next time that we do this kind of exercise, we will see a reduction in the number.
It's instructive to note that this is not just about the English language.
Yes, that is the point I'm making. It's about all the languages that is being spoken in Ghana. And if you do the kind of work that I do, and you walk through various schools and you go and you see the way that even those who are supposed to be masters of the language that they are supposed to use as a form of instruction are struggling to use it, then you would understand that we have a long way to go. And I think that when we adopt multiple measures, using the media, improving on the non-formal education system, at the same time ensuring that teachers that teach various local languages are equipped adequately. At the same time, also evaluating the various language policies that we have in the country, will be able to at least reduce the number of illiteracy that have been recorded in the country by the Ghana Statistical Service.
Grateful, and thanks for spending time with us, Dr. Ante.
You're welcome, sir.
Ill-advised and embarrassing. That's how, at least, private legal practitioner Kuku Pencil is describing the Ghana Police Service's decision to reverse the interdiction of 3 police officers at the center of this alleged plot to oust the Inspector General of Police 24 hours after the service ordered their interdiction. We'll hear from him shortly. First, on your screens now is a copy of this statement signed by the Director of Public Affairs for the Ghana Police Service, and details are pointing to, why the Ghana Police Service is, reversing the suspension or interdiction, I should say, of these 3 individuals, some of whom have already appeared before Parliament's ad hoc committee. But first, though, the legal practitioner, Kweku Penso, who's emphatic, the decision to reverse this interdiction is ill-advised.
This was a parliamentary inquiry. This got nothing to do with the police. Even though the personnel or the people subject matter of the inquiry are members of the police service, whatever was going on has nothing to do with the police in the sense of whoever is trying to reach some understanding of events that have happened. So the whole inquiry has got nothing to do with the police in that sense, notwithstanding the fact that it involved police officers. So that's point number one. Point number two, the timing. Typically, we do interdiction, or interdiction occurs where prior to the commencement of proceedings or investigations into some disciplinary matters, it is determined that the continuing presence of the person whose activities have given rise to the investigation, his continued presence in office may hamper or affect the investigation in some way, then the person may be required to stand aside for the period that the investigation is taking place, and not when the investigation has already started and midway. So that is the unusual part of it. In other words, if they really intended to interdict them, even as part of the investigation that was being conducted by Parliament, then it ought to have been done way before the investigation started. However, if you wait for the investigation to start and the people are midway, giving evidence and so forth and so on, then any conduct that seeks to give the public a different impression or picture of what is going on is an unnecessary interference in the work of Parliament or that particular inquiry that was being conducted. So that is what made the whole thing unusual and, in my view, unwarranted, having regard to the important part that even that inquiry itself had nothing to do with what was the police service inquiry under the Police Service Act or under the Police Service regulations. Mm-hmm. So that is why I thought they are what they did amounted to an interference with the important work of Parliament.
The question on the lips of many is why the sudden reversal? Well, for Superintendent George Asare and his lawyers, they suspect the decision to suspend the interdiction of the police officers is to shield the IGP from also being interdicted as he makes an appearance before Parliament's ad hoc committee. Listen.
It could be because the precedent they had set was that if you appear before the parliamentary inquiry as a police officer, you are going to be interdicted. So if the IGP is appearing before the committee, it means that he has set the roadmap that he would have to step aside. That is what it actually meant. So it's a way of he also circumventing his own rules. So because of that, let's suspend the interdict. Because I think they ought to have known right from day one. This tape was released over a month ago. I'm sure the police got copies of the tape. They never thought of interdicting them and conducting investigations. It's only when Parliament began its work, and even that nothing happened until names began, the witnesses began to mention some names, then they decided to interdict them. You understand? Because clearly it's an afterthought. The interdiction was an afterthought. Nobody is saying that the police service cannot institute their own disciplinary action against their staff. No, nobody is saying that. Our client is a law-abiding citizen. He's ready to conform with all the legal steps that have been provided by law. And we are already cooperating with Parliament. We've been invited to appear on Tuesday in camera and we are ready to do that. If after the parliamentary inquiry, the police service also wants to also do their own investigations, I mean, it's fine.
Let's get on Zoom now. Dr. Adam Bona is a security analyst joining us now. A lot unfolding in the last 24 hours. We've seen some videos also circulating on social media. How does that inform the way forward into this whole scandal?
Well, good afternoon. Well, I think that if you remember, I think Superintendent Asari alleged that some contract had been given. And so this dawn or so, someone forwarded a video that is circulating on social media to me. And you see Superintendent, not Asari, but some persons who were in view of camera, and Bugri Nabu also in view of the camera. I believe one of them had a bargain device or a secret camera recording what was going on. And they seemed to be interrogating Bugri Nabu, wanting to know whether the contract they are talking about. And you can see that Bugri Nabu actually said no, the contract was, I think largely, it was awarded to somebody else called Michael. I stand to be corrected. That it was awarded to somebody else called Michael. And he actually went to ask the IGP or something of a sort, whether, why, and if and the IGP, he thought the IGP would tell him that because the contract was awarded to Michael, IGP will ask the guy to give him money. But as he pressed, IGP ignored him. And secondly, they asked him whether he's taking money, anyone is paying him by the police, IGP, and he said no. He's not on anybody's, no one is paying him. No one has paid him anything. And so when you listen to the video that is circulating, it seems to me largely that is a vindication of what some of us already know, that most of these things that have been put out, most of these things, testimonies given, are packed of lies. But it is good that these things are coming out, because then when you come to swear an oath in Parliament and it comes out that you lied, you'll be cited for perjury, which is criminal under our criminal jurisprudence. And so as far as I'm concerned, there is opportunity to check and double check to know whether a contract, because he said he's saying that on authority, Bugri Nabu was given a contract. Anyone at all can go and check with, I'm sure, procurement. And we know that our procurement in this country is governed by law. So you can go and check to be able to tell if indeed Bugri Nabu was given a contract, or even if you want to say Bugri Nabu collects money, he's on a payroll, because I'm told he said he's on a payroll. If indeed he's on a payroll, we all know that government workers or payroll would mean that you are paid, and there should be evidence. We can't just throw information out there and say, oh, the person is collecting, has been paid, and you don't have any shred of evidence to suggest that this person is taking money from, what do you call it, ABCD. And so as far as I'm concerned, these are wild allegations that must be substantiated. The committee or whoever is investigating, this is very simple. They can always investigate, because these things, when you do them, they are documented. When you pay, you are paid, someone is on your payroll. I run businesses, and my workers are paid monthly. So if my workers are paid monthly, and you want to come and check that, do I pay my workers? I pay my taxes. If you want to come and check if I pay you should have evidence that maybe I have an audited account, I do ABCD. I run business. I've been running businesses for probably the last 2.5 decades. And so if you come and you want records of people who contracted us, including even multimedia, who are one of our clients in the past, we would have evidence that we've dealt with all manner of organizations in this country, including international, and these are a matter of record. And so when you hear people, put out wild allegations like this, you begin to wonder whether they know that these things you need to go behind the scene and be able to substantiate, provide evidence, to confirm or otherwise. And so as far as I'm concerned, these things should be checked. And I would ask that maybe it will be in the interest of the public, because they've come to say the IGP is not correct. They said the IGP has given a contract, and this was said publicly. They said the IGP had done what? He is giving money to Bugri Nabu. They said IGP, former members don't come for meetings. You cannot go and meet IGP behind closed doors and ask him to answer to these questions when these allegations have been peddled or have been put out there. You want him to come and show you and ask him questions under oath to say what they are saying is true or what they are saying is not true. So I would go with those who are saying that. Give him the opportunity. If there are some of the things you want to ask him on the quiet because you have some tapes, that will be fine. But those things that have been put out there publicly, the full glare of the media, I will say give him the opportunity. Let him come and then, put him in the witness box to answer you whether he is correct or he's not correct. If he says I'm not correct, you ask him, why are you not correct as an IGP? If he says I am correct, you ask him, what makes you correct? What have you done since you became IGP? What are you doing? But if you ask me, I will tell you that change makers usually go through these things. Those who try to bring in hard change would go through these things. As far as I'm concerned, these are disgruntled people who wanted to break the eights by scheming to subvert the will of the people by saying, give me the position of IGP and I'll break the eight for you. And that is what they went out there to do, which we have it on tape. They can't deny it.
Is this not prejudicing perhaps the outcome of what it is that the ad hoc committee may decide?
I am speaking to the testimony given.
I get that point. I get the point. I'm just asking if that will not prejudice the outcome. Yes. Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not prejudicing. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is that I am speaking to the testimony that was adduced in Parliament. They asked them questions and they agreed that yes. They asked them questions and they said, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. You heard it. And so it is not it's not a reported speech. This is something that we all saw it on your network and other networks. And the videos are there. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not concocting anything. All that I'm trying to say is that they have admitted that it is their voice. They met Bugri Nabu more than once. They have admitted to all this. So mine is that if this is not so bad, so to the extent that everything we do in this country, including even our security agencies, is politicized, so that people can decide to say, you are NDC, or you are MPP. And the moment they use that brush to paint you, you must be treated differently. So when you ask me, suspension, I heard the lawyer for one of them or for all of them speak. You see, I tend to agree with him in a way. When it comes to why it took so long for the interdiction to happen. If you ask me, because I spoke to your network when the leaked tape came out. I'm one of the first persons you would have spoken to, and I said it that this would need interdiction. Even before the Speaker of Parliament decided to form the committee. So I would agree to the fact that it should have happened. And at the moment, the sittings are going on. Obviously, every reasonable person reading in between the lines will tell you that. Why did you wait for this long? Because the Police Service Act has been, in service for a very long time. It's gone through various amendments. But the portions that talk about major crimes and major offenses and minor offenses and whatever, a major offense is indulging yourself in political controversies. And we all have seen this. And so maybe the police, I don't know, for some reason, I'm not holding brief for them, should have acted swiftly so that whether the parliamentary probe takes place or not, these people would have by now been facing a service inquiry. If they now want to go to court or write to the police through their lawyers to say, we want to finish with the parliamentary probe before we come here, or they write to Parliament, to the committee, that we want to finish with the police inquiry before we come to you, they would have the opportunity to be heard. But I want to believe that we can have concurrent hearing or, process. But unfortunately, I will say that a police council had its meeting, and I am told reliably, I'm even seeing that on social media, then I ask questions and I'm told it is true, that the IGP himself recused himself from that particular sitting because his name had been mentioned, and recused himself before the council approved the council agreed that interdict them. Then I'm told that when they had to suspend the interdiction, he also recused himself. As to whether it is true or it is not true, I've seen it on social media. I checked with reliable sources, and I'm told that that is what happened. In fact, I've checked with some police council members, and they said, well, that was true. And so I will mention their name. They said it was true. He was not at the meeting. But as for the reversal or suspension, I know there was no council meeting to do it because it happened yesterday. Cabinet sat yesterday. I don't know whether it was a cabinet decision. I don't want to go there, but mine is that, early days yet, things are thickening up, and we need to de-escalate. We need to de-escalate and, put these things in the right perspective, because we are going into 2024. We cannot create a situation of suspicion where we are going into 2024, and there's fear that if we are not careful, there's going to be massive rigging and massive cheating and massive electoral violence and what have you. So we need to, tread cautiously, if you ask me.
Dr. Bona, thank you for talking to us this afternoon.
Thank you.
And thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. When we get back, there are lots of stories making the rounds, including the National Democratic Congress taking on the Electoral Commission over the limited voters registration exercise. Please take it.
Daddy, this tank is big.
Yes, that's true.
It can store a lot of water.
That's so true.
Wow, it has a working tortoise on it.
That's so true.
I can see SINTEX. Syntax.
That is so true, my daughter.
When it falls down, it will spoil.
That's not true.
But why?
Yay! Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana. Syntex again was the first to introduce white inner layers in Ghana. Syntex gives you the biggest warranty, 7 years. No matter your water needs, Syntex is the answer. Syntex tank. Are you strong? Are you tough?
Smile, Look lively, okay? Smile, smile. Is the money too small? A bad stomach ruins your day. Don't let it. Take Gastron, your most effective antacid for the relief of symptoms of peptic ulcer, heartburn, gas pain, flatulence, and indigestion.
Hey guys, what are you waiting for? Let's go, let's go.
Mwah. Can you bring down the smiles more? Gastron, effective relief from stomach discomfort. Manufactured and distributed by NS Chemist Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the...
Hello, my name is Abeku Agri Santana. If there's anything that makes my life so easy, it is my bank. I love hanging out with my boys at our usual fufu joint. But even without cash, we still dey chop better with EcoBank Mobile. No matter the time of day, my bank helps me stay in touch with my beautiful wife whenever she's away. And when my beautiful wife is in town, She never misses out on her favorite TV shows because I'm able to pay up all my TV subscriptions from the comfort of my mobile phone. Whenever she has to get groceries too, my bank makes it cashless and convenient. And the part my wife loves the most is when my bank makes it possible and easy for her to shop from any part of the world without moving.
Welcome to the smart world of EcoBank. Download EcoBank Mobile from Google Play Store or the App Store and discover the smart way to bank. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
From humble beginnings to the extraordinary, we've witnessed incredible bonds, the rise of legends in the most challenging of times, and the most unforgettable moments that kept us at the edge of our seat. Everything up till now was just the beginning. Legends go head-to-head as timelines have collapsed for the ultimate showdown. Welcome to Big Brother Niger All-Stars. Starts 23rd July. Headline sponsor, Money Point.
And this is your election headquarters. The NPP MP for Doma is Paul Chum. Berima says the Electoral Commission, as an independent body, is constitutionally allowed to decide on whether or not it would want to hold the voters' registration exercise. The EC has come under intense pressure from the opposition National Democratic Congress, who have sued the electoral management body to decentralize the process to the electoral area level, which is the concern of the main political party. Speaking to journalists, the legislator, however, asked the EC to engage, to reach out, and to also ensure that they have a compromise on this matter. Listen.
I believe the Constitution is clear that every person or every citizen who is 18 years and above must be given opportunity to vote. It is their civil right, and no one should take it away from them. So the EC has a duty to ensure that anybody who is 18 years and above casts his or her vote. However, the processes of doing that must always, or must also be good, must fully, must be, how do you call it? It must be exhausted. It's a limited registration in the first place. Obviously, yes, if you decentralize it to a certain point, some of us will all be saved. I mean, as we see it, we've been tasked to see how people will get votes, get registered and all that. But also, don't forget, as a citizen, you also have a duty to know, to make sure that you are registered. So even though, yes, we are calling on the EC to ensure that every effort that they can do or they can put in to ensure that these people are registered without any difficulties, we are also calling on the citizens to help the EC achieve that aim. It must be a win-win. I appreciate what my seniors or the other party people are doing. Yes, this is the right call.
Paul Chumberma says matters of these nature should have been discussed at IPAC.
That's why we have IPAC. We must sit and be able to jaw. And it should always be difficult. Yes, one would say that maybe the decision came up at IPAC and the GC may have resisted what some of them said. Because the GC also probably will also look at his financial strength, look at his staff strength and all that, because this is limited. Even though one would say that, over 3 years now, they have not done any registration, so it cannot be limited. But yes, but you also know that they have to look at it well. So we will call on WAEC that if there is something that they can do to help us, please, they should do. However, if you're a citizen and you're 18 years and above, it is your duty, it is your civil right. You don't need somebody to come and tell you to do your civil right. It's about time that Ghana, we should also let we the citizens do what we are supposed to do. Even in the Bible, when Jesus Christ was performing miracles, there were some people that when he performed the miracle, he expected to do.
Okay, so how do we deal with this, and what exactly is the concern of some of these majority MPs in the House? Parliamentary correspondent Kwekwa Asante is joining us with details on that. Quite a rare outburst from an MP who's on the side of the governing party. The NDC says that the system must be decentralized. And mind you, at the local level and in these elections, no political party is sponsoring this. So what's the concern of this MP?
In fact, if you look at this MP and the concerns he's expressing, his belief is that the Electoral Commission, although having the powers to be able to decide specifically where to hold these registrations, they must also take into consideration the bigger concerns that the public has expressed. We already know that yesterday, the NDC and 4 other political parties filed an action in the Supreme Court seeking an order to compel the Electoral Commission to decentralize this process to the electoral area level. That matter has not been heard yet. In fact, a date has not even been set, and we expect that Monday, the Chief Justice, upon her return from some official duties, will set the date. The minority also say that they find that bizarre, but they are also seeking an interlocutory injunction which will prohibit the Electoral Commission from going ahead to do this already. There are those who have said that that is an action that is bound to fail because the Supreme Court have already said on countless occasions that they are very much unwilling to injunct constitutional bodies from going ahead with their duties. But mind you, this registration exercise is happening on Tuesday. And so the minority, and their mother political party, the NDC, they are racing against time to be able to get some order from the court to be able to stop the Electoral Commission or at least get it to decentralize the process. But if you listen to this MP's concern is that the EC clearly has the power to be able to do what it's purporting to do, and that if there is any change that must happen, that should be by the Electoral Commission's own discretion. In the past few days, I've been speaking with some very high-ranking officials of the Electoral Commission, and they said that they are adamant, they are not going to change course, and that on Tuesday when the registration starts, that is going to happen in the district offices. So the NDC on 2 fronts. Today, for instance, they were in court having to do with matters regarding their protests at the Bank of Ghana, and their other side also fighting these matters having to do with the EC.
Former President John Dramani Mahama amongst the list of individuals asking for the process to be decentralized. Why is the EC not yielding to this?
I think a part of it mainly has to do with budgetary constraints. The Electoral Commission, although has not publicly admitted that that is the concern, but the insider information some of us are getting is that the Electoral Commission may be struggling in terms of its ability to raise enough revenue to be able to do that. There are more than 9,000 polling stations and electoral areas across the country. That means that the Electoral Commission would have to double personnel, they would have to double equipment, and then they have to quite triple the amount of money they are going to spend on that. And so that is one big issue that the EC is binging its guns on. The other point has to do with the EC's insistence that this is a limited voter registration and not the wholesale voter registration where people can go and register. This is just open for people who turned 18 since 2019, the last time that there was a limited voter registration exercise. And so they believe that these persons should be able to turn up in the offices of the EC to register. But that is the sticking point. The Electoral Commission says they'll continue, they are going to go ahead. We want to see if the Supreme Court will first injunct it or whether or not they will give any ruling that will suggest that the Electoral Commission must decentralize this process.
And some are also insinuating that this might be a payback time for the EC, given what the NDC has been doing with the CI regarding reforms ahead of the 2024 elections.
Exactly. In fact, one of the reasons why this voter registration exercise has delayed this much is because the Electoral Commission was hoping that Parliament would approve its constitutional instrument, the proposed CI, that would have made the Ghana card the sole identity document. The EC hasn't gotten that. And so if you look at this registration exercise that is going to happen, persons who don't have the Ghana card can rely on the guarantee of 2 persons to be able to register, although for a person to grant. You cannot grant for more than 10 persons. Those are the concerns. And so the Electoral Commission is clearly going ahead with this, with one point in mind that it may be payback time to the minority. Because ordinarily, some negotiations would have taken place. We understand that the Electoral Commission wanted to try and negotiate its way around this. They didn't get that because even the majority had already sold something to the minority and gotten a buy-in, and all of them signing onto a document to do that. So it appears the minority will have to keep on, because today, for instance, they were in court. They didn't get so much of a good victory having to do with their Bank of Ghana protest that they want to get into. But this one is also something that they are following closely, because the ability of more persons to register hinges on this NDC's ability to win 2024 election. And that is why they are really much on this.
There's the question about the status of the CI itself and what Parliament intends to do with the bill going forward, or the instrument going forward.
So the CI is currently undergoing what is called the pre-laying stage. So what is happening is that leadership on both sides are discussing the ideas having to do with the CI. But as of now, both sides have already picked their position. Initially, the majority supported the Electoral Commission to make the Ghana card the sole identity document. But later on, you recall that government wanted to introduce some 3 taxes, and they were struggling to get their numbers on the floor. And so they went into some alliance with the minority that help us pass these taxes, and then we can support you in your opposition to the ECCI. So on the day they passed the taxes, they came together and did what is called the Committee of the Whole, and then put together a report signed by the Speaker of Parliament himself that recommended to the Electoral Commission that if you want this CI to go through in Parliament, then you would have to amend the part that having to do with the Ghana card being the sole identity document. Introduce the guarantor system. The EC, as we know now, say that that's not something that they are going to consider at all. And so the CI is at a standstill. It is not moving through the stages in Parliament.
The NDC's case in court, what are the major reliefs at this moment?
So there's a major order that they are seeking, that the Supreme Court must order the Electoral Commission to decentralize the process to the electoral area level. They believe that that will afford the number of Ghanaians who have turned 18 since 2020 to be able to register. In fact, if you look at certain parts of the country, like Afram Plains North, for instance, there are so many other communities, some of which you would have to travel about 4, 5, 6 hours to be able to get to Donko Krom, which is the capital of the district. And so the concern is that so many of these people are not going to bear the cost that comes with it to come all the way to Donko Krom to come and register. So mainly the NDC is seeking an order directed at the Electoral Commission to decentralize the process and allow the registration process to be held in the electoral areas in the various constituencies as part of the district office as well. So that means that at your various polling station or the place that you elect your assemblyman, the EC would have to set up at that place and register. And so that is why we are all waiting for the court to set some date for the conversation to happen, and then the ruling will be expected.
And if we're to take a look at the deadline and the timeline for the elections itself, there are fears that these concerns may not have been addressed at the time of the election.
Definitely. In fact, if you look at the registration exercise that's about to happen, that will happen next week, Tuesday. If the court process does not get through before then, and the EC starts the process and ends it, what will be the utility of any court order anyway in the first place? So that's the first point. There's also the district level elections, which is coming up in December, 19 December to be specific. And the minority have been insisting that the EC needs to get some of these things in place before that election. And without them, the EC may struggle to hold that election. The EC, on the other hand, has said that they needed a CI to be able to organize this new election. The CI has been at a standstill for some time now. So it appears the Electoral Commission would have to rely on the existing CI, which they have been seeking to amend to organize that election and to continue doing what it's going to do. But what we foresee is that the majority at some point may bow to political pressure and cave in regarding their agreement with the majority. Because mind you, all the EC needs to do is to lay the CI, to give it to the majority leader, to lay it on the days, and it's late. In 21 days, if Parliament is not able to get 2/3 support to annul that CI, the CI would have matured into law. And so all the majority need to do is to say that now we've withdrawn our support for the minority. Once the CI is laid, the NDC cannot on its own get 173 MPs to vote to reject the CI.
But that will also be detrimental to the majority side, knowing
yes,
that there are some
that clearly means that they would have to hope that in the future they get their numbers on the floor every time there's any crucial vote to be taken. And getting into 2024, you can be rest assured that there are a lot crucial business that are going to come in from the government. In 2024, maybe government may wish to do a lot of projects or take loans to do projects that will inure to its benefit in the 2024 election. And if they come to the floor, the minority are in opposition, they will struggle.
And when is Parliament resuming, and what's likely to happen to the CI from the Electoral Commission? So
Parliament is expected to resume somewhere third week of October, and we expect that when that comes, the CI, the EC will make another push. I'm sure within this break, they're having conversations with the leadership of the House to try and see if they can reach a compromise. But I believe that what is attracting the attention of the minority now, aside the voter registration exercise, as well as the CI, is the concerns having to do with the Bank of Ghana governor and his deputies. We know that they've been in court. Today again, they were in court. The police had sued them, seeking to restrain them from going ahead with the protest that was originally scheduled for last Tuesday, which has also been moved now to Tuesday. Today at 2 p.m., there was expected to be a meeting between the minority and the police hierarchy. That meeting has also been called off now. So clearly, the minority fighting a lot of battles on all fronts. They are hoping that next week, Tuesday, they will be able to protest and demand that the Bank of Ghana governor resign. The sticking point is that they have a disagreement with the police as to whether or not they can picket at the Bank of Ghana premises, which the police say is a security zone. They will not be allowed to do so. The minority say even the White House, even the Flagstaff, as people march there sometimes. So what are you talking about when you say we cannot march to the Bank of Ghana head office? So that is, it appears the minority in Parliament is focused on that battle now, out of the bigger battles that will come when House resume, whilst leaving this matter having to do with the ECCI and the voter registration to his mother party, the NDC.
Thank you for giving us the latest from Parliament. And that's Kweku Asante giving us all you need to know about the concerns by the opposition NDC on the limited registration exercise. Contractors of the Ghana Highways Authority have finally arrived at the Accra Toll Plaza on the Tema motorway to commence remedial works on the damaged toll booths there. After almost 2 years of neglect, the Highway Authority gave the assurance 24 hours ago of plans that it will clear 3 of the 8 booths there to enhance free flow of traffic and also to avert any form of further crashes on the stretch. This follows separate accidents that occurred Sunday, September 3rd, which led to the death of at least 1 person, leaving 4 others injured. Speaking to Joy News, Director of Safety and Environment at the Ghana Highways Authority, Joseph Achu Amejaka, indicated that remedial works, which will cost the taxpayer some 1 million cedis, is expected to last for about 2 weeks. Carlos Kaloni has been interacting with him.
Officials of the Ghana Highways Authority were here and gave us the assurance that today they would be here to commence their remedial works. Indeed, we are here at the Accra toll booth, and I have with me the Director in charge of Environment and Safety at the Ghana Highways Authority to tell us whether the work is actually starting today or not. All right, so we see you here today. Tell us, are we seeing work today? What are we supposed to see today here?
Yes, today, principally, we are here to introduce the contractor to the site, give him possession of the site, and to show him what he needs to do. So tomorrow we will see the rail activity. We will start rail works tomorrow. But by this afternoon, we'll be mobilizing resources to the site for commencement of the works tomorrow.
This particular contractor you've brought to the site, what is it coming to do?
Yes, what we need most now is lightning, especially for the contractor who will be doing demolition works to work in the night. So principally, they are street light contractors. So they are here to install the street lighting facilities to enhance visibility at night, and also to afford the contractor who will be doing the demolition works visibility in the night to undertake his work. So we anticipate that within 1 week, they should be able to fix the solar-powered street lights, both at the Accra end and then the Tema end. And then once they are finished, then the main contractor will be doing the demolition, will move in and then start his work. So we anticipate that within 1 week plus, at least we should get the work done for people to be able to use this facility in safety and efficiently.
So we are looking at maximum 2 weeks?
2 weeks, but it could be less. it could be less. If they are able to expedite the works, then the contractor is going to do the main works. I think within 2 or 3 days, it should be able to demolish the concrete facilities and slash some part of the canopy. And then,
So the understanding is that we have 2 contractors that are coming to work on this project. One is coming to fix the street light, and the other is coming to do the actual demolition of the work. How much is it costing us to do all of this thing?
Just a little bit over 1 million Ghana cedis, and that takes care of the 1 million. It covers both the demolition works and the solar, the street light. So it's just a minor work. It's not a major work that we are doing. It's just a minor work.
Okay, so beyond this work, after the 2 weeks, what is the next plan for the motorway?
The next plan is to also tackle the lightning along the rest of the motorway, and then also the design of the upgrading of the motorway from a 2-lane drag carriageway to 3-lane drag carriageway with interchanges at various points to facilitate interconnectivity. So we think that before the year ends, we should be able to finish works on maybe the design, and then thereafter there will be procurement, and then once the contractor is procured, then we'll see major activities in the course of next year.
What is the immediate plan for the potholes?
The potholes, I think plans are far advanced. Procurement measures have been initiated for selection of a competent contractor to come and fix the potholes. So I think before this month ends, we will see some activity to address all the potholes and make sure that we provide the road users with a smooth and safe road facility.
All right, so that is the Director of Safety and Environment at the Ghana Highways Authority giving us those updates. We also have the contractor who is actually coming to commence the lighting work at this particular spot to share some details with us. So we understand you are the contractor coming to work. Give us your name.
I'm Engineer Clenham from Prefos.
All right, so what is the work? What are you actually coming to do here? Share with us.
Okay, so right now we want to understand part of the usage of where our scope of work will fall. So you can see us from the beginning, we took some measurements. That is the emergency shoulder of the road. And right after the shoulder, we understand there will not be any utility there, so we can actually install our street lights there. So realistically, if we will start work, we'll start work tomorrow, but the installation team will be on site to mark out the pole positions.
So we see you are here, but we don't see any vehicle or equipment that you are coming to work with. Why so?
Yes, like I was saying, we want to understand what the client wants, and we also advise in addition. So from the beginning, we took the measurement, like I said, so we will then install our pole right after the shoulder, like I was saying. So that is why we are not here with any equipment now. Now we are now going to our drawing board. Our installation team will be on site to mark out again. Tomorrow they will be on site to start excavation.
Do we know how much the lighting aspect is going to cost the taxpayer?
Well, for now, the works department is the team working on the cost of that particular aspect. We, the engineers, just do the bill of quantities, and then we take it from the works department to start work.
So the understanding is that 2 contractors are actually going to be working on this project, and that of Terma. The first contractor is coming to install street lights here to ensure that there is higher visibility for the main contractor, who is actually coming to also work and cut off some of these things to be able to work in the night. So the first contractor will be working within some days, 4 days to 5 days. He will install the street light. Then the second contractor will come. He is actually going to ensure that this particular damaged booth is removed from the road. And this very one behind me here will also go. And the other one in my extreme left will also go, to ensure that where I'm standing becomes a free road for vehicles coming from Accra towards Tema without making a detour to the other side. Then they can go straight to Tema. Reporting from the Accra toll boat here, my name is Carlos Caloni for Joy News.
We take you now to the Volta region because the personnel at the Ghana Immigration Services Niva Sector Command in the Volta region have intercepted 80 slabs of 80 parcels of substances suspected to be Indian. The alleged M was intercepted at Tikwi, which borders Togo in the whole municipality, with the suspected content concealed in sacks. Ivy Setoji has the rest of the story.
The Nive Sector Command of the Ghana Immigration Service has intercepted about 80 bags of suspected India hemp containing 80 parcels kept in Atikwi in the whole municipal of the Volta region after a tip-off. The Nive Sector Commander ACI Alhaji Abdullah Zakaria in an interview with Joy News narrated where the parcels of India hemp were kept.
We acted based on intel. We had an intel that the goods suspected to be Indian hemp were lodged at a particular place at Atike near the clinic. So we quickly mobilized our men, did it with Ghana Revenue Authority, that is Customs Division, and deployed them to the area. We got there, secured the grounds, and went searching, and actually got the goods that were kept in 2 separate rooms. So what we did was to immediately convey the goods to the border post for safekeeping, and that is what we have actually done.
ACI Alhaji Abdullah Zakaria called for collaboration between the public and immigration in order to clamp down the menace.
Collaboration, we need their collaboration. This is a national security issue. Drug peddling is a serious crime, and we need collaboration of the citizen so that we'll be able to arrest the perpetrators of this crime. And so we would like to plead with them, when they get the information, they should be ready to share it with us, and this could save our society, our children.
The acting Volta Regional Commander, Assistant Commissioner of Immigration, ACI Noah Ahomka Yeboah, who also used the opportunity to tour other sectors of immigration in the region, commended the men at Nive for the good job done over the past years and urged them to do more.
What I would say is that the men have done a yeoman's job. And this area or this sector, the Nive sector, which goes through Shiatikpi and Ojokope and others, they have consistently performed in terms of intersections. If you look at their records from 2021, there have been series of intersections involving narcotics, but this is the largest of it all, because we have had 2,000 plus slaps. This one, giving the estimates that in each slap you are going to have
about 80.
About 80 times 80, that's 64,000. We are looking at, give and take, 64,000. That's huge. And if this is what is happening in the community, we can only say we can only encourage our officers to do more. The communication from the CG is to tell them that he appreciates what they are doing, and they should keep doing it, and that they will extend every support that there is for them to do the work that they are charged to do.
The suspects are on the run, and the command is still investigating the issue to bring the suspects to book. Evi Satoji, Joy News, Nive.
And up north, British High Commissioner to Ghana, Harry Thompson, has lauded Ghana's Parliament for amending the Criminal Offences Act, which will stop the public from engaging in witchcraft accusations. The British High Commissioner indicated her outfit will continue to support initiatives that will stop the abuse of women and also guarantee the rights of the vulnerable groups in the northeast region. She was addressing inmates of the Gambanga Witches Camp at Gambaga as part of her official visit to the region.
The British High Commissioner arrived in the region in the company of high-value officers at the Commission. Madam Harrieta's arrival in the region coincided with a flood disaster that killed 8 people and destroyed several properties. The High Commissioner was also in the region at a time of increasing concerns about the threat from violent extremists and other security concerns owing to the recent repatriation of some Burkinabe nationals in the region and the escalation of violence in Boko. Her first port of call was the office of the regional minister at the regional coordinating directorate in the capital, Nalergu. The regional minister and his senior staff at the RCC received the commissioner and her delegation.
It's an honor to have a person of your caliber taking time off your heavy schedules to call on the people of the Northeast region. But just to let you know that this is quite a very long region with a lot of challenges in our pursuit for development. It is because of those challenges that the people and the chiefs ask for the region, so that if we decentralize power closer to the people, we may be able to better prosecute our development agenda.
A PowerPoint address of the situational report of the region was then presented to the Commissioner and her delegation. The Commissioner, while explaining the reason for the visit, extended her condolences to the victims of the recent flood disaster.
I'm sorry to be coming at such a difficult time for this region. My heartfelt condolences, those of my staff, my team as well, on the loss that you have experienced as a result of the recent floods, the loss of life, caused, but also the loss of livelihoods.
From the coordinating directorate, the regional minister led the High Commissioner to the Palace of the Traditional Authority in line with the established protocols. Her Excellency, after being welcomed by the Nairi and his elders, said her visit to the region was among others to ensure maximum impact of their work across human and economic development, peace, security and stability.
We recognise that the northern regions of Ghana experience more difficult, more challenging human development outcomes and less economic development than the rest of Ghana.
She added that her visit was in line with her responsibilities to strengthen and move forward the relationship between Ghana and Great Britain.
As the High Commissioner to Ghana from the UK, my responsibility is to strengthen that relationship still further and to move it into the future. For me to be able to do that properly, I need to understand the whole of the country, not just sit in Accra and think that Accra is Ghana.
The Overlord, Nabahaga Abdullahi Mahamid Shariga, expressed his gratitude for the visit, but also acknowledged and praised the warm relationship between the two nations. The Nairi, however, made several requests for assistance, including scholarship program for students in his jurisdiction and relief items for victims of the recent flooding in the region. The High Commissioner's visit to the region also came as police are investigating the killing of a 60-year-old woman in connection with witchcraft accusations in the Yunyu Naswani district. From the Nairi, the High Commissioner ended her visit at the Gambaga Witches Camp, where she interacted with and donated food items to the inmates.
We want to make it clear to Your Excellency.
But before her interaction with the inmates, the High Commissioner visited the caretaker of the camp, the chief of Gambaga and his elders.
That the Gambarana does not go hunting for witches or dragging them to come here. The Gambarana rather serves as the director of a resettlement area. So this is a resettlement camp and not a witch camp.
The palace, however, called for adequate education and sensitization before the passage of the bill.
Nobody is against the law, but we know that there may be certain consequences behind it unless there is an in-depth education that will extend to the rural areas. Otherwise, in fear that when they declare anybody a witch, they will be arrested and maybe be sentenced. They may lynch them without the knowledge of anybody.
The High Commissioner, speaking to the inmates, said her office will continue to work with local partners to ensure their rights and dignity were respected.
We are happy that this law has been approved by Parliament that will stop people from being accused of witchcraft, because we don't want other people to be treated the way that some of you have been treated. Human rights are as important as anybody else's human rights. And so we will continue to work with Taba and with other people in Ghana who are supporting you to make sure that those human rights are respected and those of your children and your children's children.
Ilyas Sutanko from Nalirgo for Joy News.
And now the veterinary office for Wassce has confirmed the outbreak of the African swine fever in the municipality. A local farmer there has lost almost 600 of his pigs worth 2.2 million Ghana cedis to this outbreak. According to the veterinary office, although the disease doesn't pose threats to humans, it spreads rapidly. The affected farmer, Dr. Kwesi Wassce, is worried that the situation could erode economic gains of farmers in the municipality if not contained quickly.
Recently, we had some issues in our farms, and after a test was carried out in Accra, they find out that swine fever, African swine fever, this is the case that we have here. Up to date, we have over 530 pigs and piglets that have already died. Now we have only 20 piglets left in the farm. Now I don't know what to do. All what I'm trying to do is to wait until the system will be clear up. I think the doctors have been coming here, the vets are here, and the directors are here. So we are waiting for them to tell us the way forward. Yes, I don't want to give up because, I know that so many people have been going through such situation. But me, I'll continue. Only if I get some support from various places, I know that will help me to continue the farmers. Now, when you look at the pig industry in Ghana, we lack a lot of meat. So if I give up, it will be difficult. So I cannot give up. The money right now, I can calculate that if I sell them, even each one, if I sell each one for even 3,000 or 2,500, I have lost more than 2.5 or 2.2 million Ghana cedis.
Still on the story, the Municipal Veterinary Director, Dr. Marcos, is advising farmers to report any symptoms or for swift action.
Recorded the African swine fever outbreak on the 28th of August. So we are still on it. In the district, now we are at Akobo Farms and we've lost more than 500 pigs to the outbreak. The farmers, we are advising all of them to be patient and do not allow any new pig to come to your farm. Do not move your pigs. Do not sell the pigs within Kwawu West. We are organizing a seminar for the farmers. So we put them through all the do's and don'ts. But for now, they should all calm down. The situation is under control. Consumers of pigs, the virus does not affect human beings. So consumers of pigs are safe. Just that the farms that are affected, we don't want the pig meat to go outside due to the spread. It's not infectious to human, but it spreads so quickly, and when it gets to your farm, it will clear all your pigs within weeks. So we want to stop that economic loss. Even though it's not zoonotic, we are looking out for the economic losses.
And now some parents are raising red flags over the dangers posed by a stalled 12-unit classroom block project to their children at St. Augustine Basic School in Nongwa due to limited space at the facility with a population of over 500 junior high school students. They are being accommodated on a Presbyterian school compound elsewhere. A vehicle recently knocked down two of the school children crossing the busy Accra-Nongwa stretch in search of toilet facility. Tama correspondent Kwame Yanka has the rest of the story.
We recorded the case of the African swine fever in Kwawu West. And in fact, it's a big blow to us in the sense that our farmer, Dr. Akwesi, has lost in excess of 500 pigs to this virus. Though it's not harmful, it is not zoonotic, it is something we need to manage in order to contain it. And also, he was a nominee.
The St. Augustine Basic School 12-unit classroom block project in Nongwa started about 8 years ago under the then Lejokuku Krowo Assembly to replace the existing structure at the time over safety concerns as well as growing population. However, due to split of Lejokuku Krowo municipality into Lejokuku and Krowo municipalities around 2018, it says to have affected the pace of the project. Junior high school students of the school are accommodated at the Presbyterian school compound at Nongwa Mami. Past students and parent Sandra Otu, in an interview with Joy News, shares how she is alarmed anytime the child leaves home for school.
He's currently here, but he has to cross the road to the other
place because now the JHS are sharing with the Presby school. It's not safe. Because last time he came home and to give us complaint about his two mates being knocked down by a vehicle because of they have to live here to the other side. And coming here today, I'm sad because when I was here, we have access to the toilet facilities and all that.
Some pupils are pleading with authorities that be to do the needful.
The school have no toilet. We have no toilet. Either when the teacher is teaching, we lose the teaching. We can't sit down and learn. So we need to go out and poo-poo. The time we will come back, the lesson is over. Our school is not completed. We beg him to come and complete our school for us.
When we are in school, others have running stomach, so they need to go out to the washroom. And something can happen to them anywhere. While the teacher is teaching, then we students, we are going out to visit the washroom. It's a problem which we are facing in this school.
School Management Committee Chair Paul Odum says the pupils are exposed to danger due to the uncompleted project.
They will be moving to the other side because the facility is here, and that is Nungwa Mami. That's where the school is. And because of this balustrade, we can't accommodate the P6 kids here. But it will be very risky to leave this balustrade here. If you can see them here, you can't leave the open space like this for these kids. And we don't want any risk or accident. And Presby too, they also need their building. So that's the reason why we want to maintain the case here as we are entering into the next academic year.
Assembly member for Nkpo electoral area, Labaran Abdullahi Osman, who doubles as the Social Services Committee Chair at Krowa Municipal Assembly, says several steps have been taken for the completion of the building.
Tracing the document has become an issue. We have to find a way of making things more clearer to whoever will be giving the contracts. I have met the contractor here before. He came on site. The headmistress and the neighbors of the community can attest to the fact that work has been ongoing and he has to raise a certificate for ratification and payment. But even in that course, as parents and as an assemblyman, that I also belong to the PTA, we assess the situation. Those that we think we can start, we put in an effort. Eventually, contractor is back on site, trying to do the most importantly, the place of convenience, both for teachers and students.
Municipal Chief Executive for Krowo, Joshua Nibote, says his outfit is working on completing the school despite challenges with funds.
It was very bad when I came, but I invested about almost 600,000 Ghana cedis into that project. It's a huge project, as you said. So there's a contractor on site. He's almost finishing with the toilet facility. The information I have is that the whole facility is finished, especially the washrooms. They are left with the connection of the water from Ghana Water so that they can fully use it. Yes, they don't have toilet facility. It's a challenge for them. But at times, the church close by give them access to use it. So, St. Augustine has been a project that has been on my table for a very long time. I'm passionate about school and the children who are ours to really educate and really feed and see them develop to leaders. You understand? So, that is it about St. Augustine's. I will not give you timelines, but I'll speak to you. We have to get some funds for the contractor to really fasten up the job that he's doing so that we get it complete.
Meanwhile, Parent Teacher Association Chair of St. Augustine Basic School, Julius Aokudagbi, believes completing the stalled project will ensure safety of the awards and cut down loitering. Kwame Yankes reports for Joy News.
And at the Upper West, the Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Salih has urged personnel of the National Service Scheme to not to be discouraged by the challenges they are currently facing at their post. Instead, they should see their service as an opportunity to contribute to development of the country. Speaking at the Upper West regional version of the 50th anniversary Remembrance Day in Wassce, he noted that it is a springboard to their future successes. Joy News' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam was there and now reports.
Staff of the National Service and executive members of the National Service Personnel Association, NASPA, were joined by Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Salih at the conference room of the Upper Wassce Regional Coordinating Council to watch a virtual live show of the national remembrance of the 50th anniversary of the National Service Scheme. Upper Wassce Regional Director of the NSS, Dawusu Daniel, fell through light on the program.
The National Service, we know, started in 1973 by Ignatius Kuntun Achampon. Today, the 7th of September marks the exact day he assented to the decree that established National Service. So we know we have lost a lot of heroes, service persons and staff during the day. So we've decided that today we will use the day to remember them and give them some respect.
Dr. Binsali recalled with nostalgia his 31 years ago as a national service personnel, which he said has impacted on his life.
I did my national service with the then Ghana Water and Sewage Corporation, Ghana Water Corporation. Now, I have no regrets whatsoever. I learned a lot, and all the things I learned impacting in me.
He urged national service personnel in the country not to be deterred by the challenges they are currently encountering, but should spur them on to greater heights.
And this gives you the opportunity to have a feel of what people are doing to make our country a better place for all of us. I'll therefore entreat each and every one of you not to be deterred by the challenges, but to be spurred on to give of your best as you contribute to the forward march of our dear country, Ghana.
At exactly 11:45 a.m., there was a flag raising ceremony at the forecourt of the Upper Wassce Regional Coordinating Council, where a 2-minute silence was observed for departed souls and the sounding of the last post, aided by personnel from the Ghana Armed Forces and the Ghana Police Service. Some executives of NASPA shared their thoughts about the day.
Today is worth remembering because it's to remember all the past NSPs who are dead currently, and today is really a memorable day for us. Thank you.
Are you proud to be a national service personnel? And tell me why.
I'm very proud to be a national service personnel because I'm serving the country, that is Ghana.
So it's good that we also go through history, also know the people that have contributed their quota to support national service. So I think it's a very good initiative that they have given to us.
Though they thank the government for the increase in the monthly allowance, they believe it is peanut that can hold both body and soul together.
559 is actually too small. When you take 559, you go to the market. It will surprise you that you only buy some few tubers of yam and then tomatoes. So it will be good they actually increase it. We heard they've increased it to 715, but then also the 715 have not come yet. It is something we are actually expecting, and we are praying that they send it to us.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
And that's all we have for you here on The Pulse. I'm Blessed Sogan. Log on to myjoyonline.com for more stories. We'll see you again. Next is Let's Talk Showbiz. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.